you come up with the product, BumPads, Hemispheres?
Well, it goes back a ways. You guys are aware that I have a small farm down in middle northern Illinois. And one of the things that I enjoy very fully is, and I enjoy it more since I've been retired, is being on my tractor. It is an opportunity to basically have the whole world go away. There's not a time urgency for having to do any of the work that I do on the tractor. But obviously anything you do on the tractor is for the most part summer work. And summer work on a tractor ultimately means there's going to be some sweating. And what happened in the context of all of the mowing that I would be doing on my tractor, on hot days specifically, is you could feel the sweat rolling off your head and rolling down my back anyhow. And as it rolls down the back, it lands itself in that big crevice. And once it's in there, it just kind of creates this, you get a rubbing effect that goes on. And before long, the rubbing turns into itching. Mm-hmm. And you can get away with that and continue your work for quite a while. But after a while, the itching just gets to the point where you say to yourself, this must stop. So that's time to turn off the tractor, go in the house, clean up. And we've had a bidet in that house since we built it. It's kind of a nice cleansing environment. And I would go in, cleanse, refresh myself, change clothes because everything was wet, and then go back out on the tractor. And when I went back out on the tractor after enough time, tractor is kind of like a getaway at 3 miles an hour. So when you're on the tractor, everything is slow. The sweating started again, rolling down the back, ending up in the same spot, having more itching, having to stop again. And this makes it sound like this was discovered on a day. It really is something that was discovered over the course of many, many, many opportunities to be on the tractor. And ultimately, after having it take place many times, go out, mow, sweat, go clean up, change clothes, go back out, mow, sweat, change clothes, and so forth. It's the sort of thing where I said, well, you know, at the time I was in remarkably better health, and the thought that occurred to me was, if I'm a relatively healthy guy, and this is occurring to me, and there's no magic to it other than the nature of sweatiness that's coming about, it's got to be a problem for other people. And that's ultimately what happened. But the thought that I had was, this can't continue, at least not for me, the way that I have been experiencing it. And I then set out to say, what can we do to create something that will minimize, eliminate, slow down, whatever it was, the sweating and the itching and the change of my lifestyle that I had to owe because of all of the sweating.
Tom, you mentioned another time with your brother going up to Minnesota or Wisconsin, I forget what the story was exactly, but and he had him being in distress.
Yes.
And he tried to solve that problem. That might be an etymology behind hemispheres.
It's further there. My brother suffered from hemorrhoids. We were on a trip to a family wedding, and it was a little bit of a caravan, 3 or 4 cars were going up, and we stopped someplace, I think, just as we crossed from Indiana into Michigan, and had a burger and a shake or something like that, and he started just kind of wrangling about in his seat because everything just itched and it was driving him crazy. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, here's what I need to have you do. You need to take this thing, go into the bathroom, finish your business in there, wipe yourself as much as you possibly can, make sure you're clean, and then take this device and push it right up there to the exit point.
This is a very special fraternal relationship, clearly.
He looked at it with great suspicion, but he did it and put this product in place, and we continued on our journey to the Detroit area. And after the wedding, we were sitting at the reception, and he was at my table. And of course, he turned on me and accused me of every foul deed that could possibly happen. He said, "Man, I felt like I was crowning all the way, all the way from entry into Michigan, and I can't believe that you would have me do it." And of course, everybody at our table laughed. And it's no matter what happens when you start talking about a butt, it's funny. Everybody laughs when you talk about the butt. In any event, this gave him an opportunity to take a pretty good jab at me, and he did, and laughter, 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 laughter. On the other hand, he had been not having any hindrances. He specifically never complained about it again, which I found pretty interesting. And then I would go so far as to say, here we are now several years after that event. The hemorrhoids are still a problem, but this device, which was not created in any way to answer the problem of hemorrhoids, but what happens is it creates a pushback experience against those vessels that come out of the body. And he has become a substantial advocate of the product. And the simple and solitary reason is it works.
About 3% of the public have some form of hyperhidrosis, which is an oversweating condition that happens in hot, cold, anytime. It can be in a room right now and you'd be sweating. And so we figure there's about 10 million people in the United States that have this condition, and throughout the world maybe 200 million people. So that kind of validated the market, or at least the potential for a market for a product. And then my second thought behind the validation and what these things could do, get a gastroenterologist involved. And you've been working with Dr. Arnie Rosen for a while, and we are very blessed to have him on our team. And maybe that's why I believe we have, in his total education, perspective, experience, we have a lot of gravitas towards a product and its usage. So not only excess sweating, but fecal soiling, hemorrhoid pushback, as we talked about.
Stuff that gets dragged along with it, I guess, is a good way to describe it.
Okay.
But before we let Dr. Rosen give the accurate answer,
Yeah.
I would like to point out that yes, hyperhidrosis is a problem, but for millions upon millions of more people, just regular old run-of-the-mill, heat-generated regular hydrosis is a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Physical
And
activity.
there's anything that we can do that would create an environment to cause it to dry up or to wick away or evaporate would be a helpful experience. And that figures into it. So hyperhidrosis, very accurate, small part of the population. But there's a lot of people out there who are living regular lives. They're on the golf course, for God's sake. They're playing tennis. They're driving a car or a truck. And they can't sit still because they itch so much. And to make it worse, they're violating mom's command because mom told you when you were a kid, make sure you're wearing clean underwear if you have an accident. And this sweating does not necessarily end up looking clean. And it's another thing for mom to hear. Mom was right, always wear clean underwear. But this is the opportunity for mom to add a corollary. Not just always wear clean underwear, but keep your underwear clean. Hemispheres addresses that.
It absorbs sweat. And I also suspect strongly that it can help with a variety of other problems that a gastroenterologist would encounter. We see people with various anorectal diseases. Of course, hemorrhoids, fissures are the most common, but we also see people with inflammatory bowel disease, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease. In no way am I suggesting that this is a cure for those problems, But patients with those problems are often treated with topical agents, either therapeutic enemas or suppositories, and that can get a little messy. So to be able to hand such a patient a recommendation or a product that while you're using that therapeutic enema or suppository, here's something that might help keep your underwear clean, make you feel cleaner, and when there's a problem or discharge of some kind, it's literally easily flushed away. That's really a great service. I have no study proving that, but it seems entirely logical to me that that would be a very helpful feature of this.
And I think I want to add to that, and this is to Dr. Rosen's clarity on the issue. He has indicated to me over and over again that a lot of anecdotal information doesn't constitute data. On the other hand, relief is what we're looking for, and it was what I was looking for in the conversion of this thing into a product, from the standpoint that it gives relief. The embarrassment, the itching, the wet goes away, or is at least remarkably diminished.
What was the specific moment or breakthrough that made you realize this product would work?
My answer would be in the various iterations that I went through trying to identify what the shape of the product should be in order to meet the function that I wanted it. There was a lot of trial and terror. And ultimately what happened was this design came to be very, very effective. And it's a very simple piece, as Doctor pointed out. This is an example of one of the devices, but if the problem is persistent or the problem is great, very simply you can take two of these guys and put them together and you get the same effect, but on a little bit grander scale, because it will dry up things a little bit more.
I think also we spent some time working with focus groups. We had some marketing things done, and we had, I think, 50 different people try this part and try Hemispheres, and with different answers. But they all had a need, and whether that was any one of these four, excessive sweating, or they had a disease, or hemorrhoids, pushing back against hemorrhoids, they all commented, and that made me feel that, again, that was a breakthrough moment for me. That actually, no doubt, Tom, you have the experience, you make the product
firsthand,
and Arnie, from his doctor and his background, believes that this is good. But the best thing is actual feedback from people using the product, and so we've got some really good information, and that's what helped us make the product. The number of layers we're using right now, and we've also got feedback for future iterations of the product.
Yeah, I think that I would certainly echo that in its entirety, but ultimately what happened was, from the study groups that we had, was people were saying, this has been a lifestyle challenge for me. I've learned over the course of many years that I had to carry additional underwear or have a complete different change of clothes, or that I could not wear certain colors of clothes simply because they would become visibly discolored. So when you looked at it, I looked at it in the context of how it was affecting lifestyles. That was not something that I specifically expected. And then, as I best recall, Doctor, you indicated that was a surprise to you too, that it was a lifestyle function that we were getting feedback.
I don't think it was especially surprising. It wasn't something that I'd focused on before, that's all. The focus groups were basically two. One was a group of women who had some degree of fecal soiling, and the other was a group of men who had excessive anal sweating. And the vast majority of the people in the groups derive benefit from the product. Many of them had recommendations, things they might want tweaked, but the most common question was, when will this be commercially available?
Right.
And can I have more? This really helped. And that was really satisfying.
It gives relief. It makes the problem go away. Your life will be better. You'll have less clumsiness in your life.
Yeah. Well,
It may not make the problem go away, but it can provide substantial relief, certainly during an episode of activity or engagement.
Try it twice. You'll like it.
try it
The
twice.
first time you might be distracted because it feels funny,
Mhm.
but the chances are excellent. You'll find that the problem for which you used it has improved, and try it again.
It makes the symptoms go away. It makes that necessity to continue to wipe, even though it's ineffective. It creates an opportunity for the device to help you get back living your life in comfort and full enjoyment.
And I might add to that, everybody has a butt, treat it right. Use Hemispheres BumPads.